Hi everyone, my name is Otter Day. My pronouns are she, they, he, and I'm an assistant clinical professor at Texas Woman's University in Denton, Texas. I created this activity or assignment with two of my colleagues at Texas Woman's University, Kaylin Terrell and Kelsey Barnacle.
I'm here to share a little bit about a project I really enjoy doing with my Intro to Psychology course. And what we do is we write a book. So students work in groups of about 3 to 4 to collaborate and create a book that educates the general public on psychological topics and related social justice issues. This project is really designed to present students with a disorienting dilemma. Disorienting dilemmas often lead to a restructuring of thought and sometimes changes in behavior. And what this approach really does is it empowers students to actively engage with the material, to think critically about how it relates to themselves, others, and the world around them, and consider ways that they can actively pursue solutions. Now, like I said, the product that we're creating is a book that we'll publish through Amazon Kindle. And it is targeted towards the average non-student, perhaps somebody who's not going to go to college, or maybe they aren't going to take a lot of psychology courses, but they want to learn a little bit more about psychology. Now, to implement this activity, we start by deciding on a topic. Now, sometimes I decide the topic beforehand, and sometimes if I'm struggling to really narrow it down, I'll provide my students with some options and we'll vote. After we've selected a topic, we will elect 5 peer editors. This project is about 95% student-led, so these editors are going to help me create a timeline for the project. They're going to help me create rubrics. They're going to help me create guidelines. And they're also going to provide constructive feedback on outlines and rough drafts of book chapters. Now, the peers that are elected are self-nominated. I take a few minutes at the beginning of the semester to explain this, and students come up and explain why they would be a good editor, why the students in the class would want them to be the editor of this book. Once we have selected 5 editors, I set up a meeting about every other week to talk with the editors. We put together those rubrics, those timelines, those guidelines, and we also meet every time a draft is submitted, so that way we can review the feedback, any themes that may have emerged, and that way I can review the feedback that's been given and ensure that the final grades that have been assigned are correct. So while it is the editors who are doing the majority of the constructive feedback, I still go through and read through the chapters and ensure that nothing's been missed and that the students are given the feedback that they need to succeed. If you would like to see examples of those timelines, any rubrics or the guidelines that I put in my syllabus, you can just scan the QR code that I have on the screen here, and it'll take you to a Google Drive folder that has all of that information in it. What is really great about this project is that it satisfies all of the learning outcomes for introductory psychology that were just accepted by the APA. Additionally, it's also really great for highlighting a lot of the themes that have been posited that we should be focusing on in our Intro to Psychology courses. I have so far completed 2 books with my honors classes. The first one is called Don't Let Psych You Out, and the second is Debunked Myths, Common Psychology Misconceptions, both of which can be found on Amazon Kindle. You can publish these for free, and your students can actually buy physical copies of them for, I think, $3 or $4. To implement this in an upper level course would be easy. I think it would be really great for classes that focus on health disparities or marginalized groups. For example, a psychology of women class could create a book that is focused around a call to action around women's rights, right? So this should be really easy to do. You can adapt the same rubrics, the same guidelines. It would just be a slightly different topic, but it would have more of that social justice lens. And it would also present students, again, with that disorienting dilemma that would force them to confront their opinions and beliefs about topics that may not be the most informed. Now, this assignment also satisfies all the recommended goals for undergraduate psychology majors. So this assignment really kind of ticks all of the boxes. And because it is student-led, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the instructor in terms of getting grades and feedback in all on your own. I have found that students really enjoy this project. It makes them feel like they have really accomplished something at the end of the semester. They always report that they got a lot out of it. It helps them think more critically. It helps them develop their analytical writing skills, and it helps them have more well-rounded knowledge about issues that we face in the world around us. So another thing to mention about this project is that it would be really easy to adapt to a different modality. This does not have to be a book. I think especially in upper level classes where we are trying to help our students communicate what they know effectively and in a concise manner, perhaps we could have those students in those upper level courses create TikTok series or Instagram reels or Facebook posts that disseminate the same information in a similar way, but because they need to be more concise and there is sometimes a word count, students will have to think more critically about how they're going to convey that information. And we know that TikTok is really popular right now. It may be a really great way to actually disseminate some of this factual information. In terms of evidence of effectiveness, I have not conducted any formal research on its effectiveness, but like I said, I do have a lot of students report in my evaluations that they really enjoyed the project and that they felt like they got a lot out of it. If you have any questions about this project and you're thinking about implementing it, but you need more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. I would be happy to help.